Welcome to Charlotte's Wandering Web with your adventurous guide to the good times, Charlotte Tweed. Each week, Charlotte takes you on the journey of a lifetime to a delightful Caribbean locale where the sun never sets on your good life at a great price. And now with her muy amigo, Carib Carter, here's your host, Charlotte Tweed. Hello, this is Carib Carter, and I want to welcome you to what I know is one of your favorite podcasts of the week at the Offshore Club, Charlotte's Wandering Web. Charlotte today has wandered to, I think it's called Ajijic. Charlotte, come in, please.
Pretty good. You're close. Ajijic.
Ajijic, Mexico.
Yeah.
Now, folks, that's A-J-I-J-A. Is that right?
A-J-I-J-I-C.
So what is Ajijic like?
This is a great town, and I tell you, Carter, it checks off a lot of my boxes. It's about a population of 11,000, so it's a small town, which I like. Where we're staying is very central, so we can walk everywhere. We can walk to the Malecon, which is the boardwalk along Lake Chapala. We can walk to grocery stores. We can walk to the butcher shop. We can walk to the market. We can walk to restaurants. It's perfect location for me.
Wow. It's so, and Lake Chapala, right? Lake Chapala. Yes. I have a dear friend, Jim Manship, who we've interviewed on Coffee with Carib Carter a couple times, who has a home somewhere around Lake Chapala. I don't know if it's in Ajijic or not, but he just loves it. And I think he told me the lake is so big you can see it from outer space.
It is a big lake. It's Mexico's largest lake. Yes.
Oh, yeah. It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're just living, how long have you been there?
We have been here a week. Tomorrow will be a week.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did you say 11,000 people?
About 11,000 people. Yeah.
That's nice restaurants.
Lots of restaurants. Yeah. The first day we were here, we ate out 3 times. All our meals out. I needed a break from cooking. I said, I am not cooking anything today. We ate out, and prices are very reasonable. With all 3 meals, we spent, between the two of us, $54.
Incredible.
Yeah. So prices are still good.
Like, does it have coffee shops?
Yes. Yeah. There's just 2 blocks up the street from us is a bakery that has incredible croissants stuffed with chocolate, coconut. There was a matcha one, and that was really tasty too. Big croissants, so huge loaves of bread that weigh about 3 pounds. Like, they're solid, and they make fabulous coffee. So that's just two blocks up from where I am. So
that's incredible, and a variety of stores.
Yes. The main street is quite busy. But everything, like there's clothing stores, there's, like I said, butcher shops, lots of restaurants, all different kinds of restaurants too. Italian, there's a donut shop, which I've heard it has fantastic donuts that we're supposed to go try. Even if you don't like donuts, they said go and try. I think it's Donna's Donuts. It's just up the street as well. There's a big pharmacy on the corner that would be it would be like a Walgreens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a modern town.
It is, but it's also considered a Mexico magical town, which the tourism board has created certain towns that have the old style, the old buildings as a magical town. Now, there is a little bit of controversy. Some people say Ajijic is too modern and shouldn't be classified in that, but it still has the old streets. Like, they're not cobblestone, but they're stone. So when people drive down the streets, it's quite bumpy and loud. Wow. And in the old buildings, like what you can see behind me, like the house that we're renting, it's a 1-bedroom home. They're like row houses, and they're all concrete, like the old style concrete homes, Mexican homes.
How much are you paying rent?
It's about $800 a month, and that includes everything. So that's electricity, internet, if we would have to get, the only thing it wouldn't include would be if we have to refill the propane, but we should be good for the month for gas. So
$800 a month is
mhm.
that's fairly pricey,
Mexico is a little more than, well, it is more expensive than Nicaragua. It's on
right?
that higher end curve. But,
Okay.
considering it includes everything,
Well,
that's not
yeah, that's true.
that's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Like, what's the weather there now?
Oh, we're coming into the hotter seasons. Apparently, April and May are the hottest seasons in the highlands because we're in the mountains still. We have the mountains and the lake. It's probably going to get up to, I would say, 90 today.
90.
Yeah.
So you have air conditioning?
No, because it cools off enough at night. So it's hot during the day, but cools off at night down in the low 50s. So that
Wow.
helps, the cross breeze comes through and cools off. There's a fan on the main level, but you don't need air conditioning here or heat.
Very, 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 very nice.
Mhm.
And on Lake Chapala, is it Chapala, right?
Yes.
Now, do they fish on there so you can get fresh fish, do you think, if you want it?
I've seen locals fishing in the lake, standing in the lake fishing offshore or throwing in their nets or using poles and hooks. So I haven't had fish yet. I have had seafood though. I've had shrimp and I've had octopus and calamari, and it's good.
Very nice. And how long are you going to be in Ajijic? Ahihi. Ahihi.
You'll get it when it's time for me to leave.
Yeah, that's exact. Just about that time. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be here for a month for sure. So for the month of April, if we like it, we might stay for May as well. And so far, we're really enjoying it. It's, like I said, it checks a lot of boxes. It's about a half-hour drive from Guadalajara, and it's on the side of the Guadalajara airport is on the south side, so that's where we are. And easy to get here. I have never seen a taxi stand like this in an airport before. But you get your baggage and there's a stand that says taxis and you go up and say, I'm going to Ajijic. They tell you the price. They give you a ticket. You go stand in the official taxi line, give them their ticket and give them the address and you go. So you don't, when you leave the airport, you're not swarmed by people going taxi, 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 taxi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So and it was the cleanest taxi that we have ever been in our lives. It was spotless. I swear when they circle them through, they wash them all the time. The floor was spotless. We were impressed.
I think the big misconception that a lot of Americans have about Mexico is like, I don't know, you probably did not see the movie, the latest Stallone movie with his character from First Blood, whose name I
Yes, I
can't
have
remember.
seen it.
You did see it. And so
Yeah.
all of you who saw that movie, it was like, I'm definitely not going to that place. And I'm afraid. So when we talk about, you've been 3 places for us now with
Mhm.
you've wandered to in Charlotte's Wandering Web, and all have been lovely. And I'm
Yes.
afraid most people think of, I can't think of the damn name of it. Was it I think it may have just been Rambo. It was just Rambo.
It's the First Blood. I think it's part 4.
Yeah.
Final Blood or something like that. It was really overkill.
It was really.
But yeah, that's when people think of Mexico. And I had one of my friends message me and say, aren't you scared to be in Mexico? We always hear it's so dangerous with cartel. And it's like, no, we don't see any of that. Yes, there are places that you don't want to go, but generally that is along the Mexican-US border.
That's right.
Is where those issues are. The towns we have been in, even Mexico City being as big as it is, it's actually 25 million. The streets were spotless. It was safe. We only heard one siren the first day we were there, one siren, and that wasn't until 7:15 in the evening. And where I used to live in Calgary, the sirens were going off all day.
You know what I think? I think it is, and it's just almost a departure, but I think it's fascinating. I think it's when you have places that are problematic, is when you have a mix of 2 cultures.
Mm.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like you said, the border towns
Mhm.
are different. Well, they're kind of corrupted by the influence of the U.S. and the U.S. money and frankly drug appetite, right? And you know where else I noticed that? I think this is fascinating. I spent time in Ramallah, okay, on the West Bank, or as some people call it, Palestine, right?
Mhm.
And then I also spent time in Gaza. And the West Bank was much more problematic because it is, again, you have the culture mix.
Mhm.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, I think you have a point there, Carter, because
Yeah,
even in Central America, a lot of the countries, when people, oh, it's dangerous, a lot of the problems are at the borders.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. It's just very peculiar. But
Mhm.
you have, by the way, I wanted to mention last week's Charlotte's Wandering Web from Mexico City was absolutely fantastic. It was just
Thank you.
great.
Thank you. We were impressed with the city. Like I said, I'm not a big city girl, and we were invited by locals to come and stay at their house. So the people that we were renting the country, they said, come stay with us for a couple days in Mexico City. We're all right, sure. I mean, why not take them up on that? And we were really impressed. Both my husband and I were really impressed with Mexico City. Same thing, like a great combination of history and modern. Like they have buildings there, they're skyscrapers that withstand a 9.7 magnitude earthquake. That's pretty impressive.
9.7.
That's impressive.
That's where I want to go in case of an earthquake. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And yet they have the old colonial areas as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And the old cathedrals of the basilica, the Aztec ruins. Yeah, it's the aqueducts. There's aqueducts there as well. So it's a
See,
very, I would highly recommend people to go and visit. So many people don't go to Mexico City because it's not on the ocean.
oh
A lot of
yeah.
people go to Cancun, go to Puerto Vallarta, um, Tulum, the ones that are on the ocean because they want the beach. But I tell you, we were really impressed with Mexico City.
It
Tons
was
of
it
stuff.
was it was wonderful, and you did a great job. I was stunned at how beautiful it was and the variety. The last time I saw a video of Mexico City was Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin in Divorce Mexico styles.
I know. I
It was
told
100 years ago, I think.
Yeah, and I remember I told our son we were going to go stay in Mexico City, and he said we went to Playa del Carmen a few years ago, 2018, the beginning of 2018, and we were going to connect. And I said, I am not connecting or staying overnight in Mexico City because I had the same misconceptions that so many people do about this country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he reminded me that you weren't even going to do an overnight there for flights. Well, but that's what travel does to a person. You get exposed to different cultures. You get to see the country for yourself and what it's really like, and not what the news is telling you the country is like.
Yes. Yes. And I have to ask you this because I know that everyone who's watched all of our episodes so far has the same question. How do you? I've never met anybody as nomadic as you, other than when I was in Gaza and went into the desert and met some. What do you call those Arabs that?
Bedouins?
Yes, some Arabs. And they were literally, it was like I was in a movie. They were laying
Yeah.
on carpets but with you, how do you do it? You seem to be, you are everywhere we talk to you. And we've talked to you in Nicaragua, we've talked to you in several different places. You're always absolutely comfortable. How do you do it?
That's a good question. Sometimes I don't know myself sometimes. I yeah, that's a tough question. I think it's because we were well traveled before. In 2018, we left and we traveled through Europe for 4 months. We picked up a car in Rome, leased a car, and drove it up to Amsterdam. So we're used to being in different locations, used to where they don't speak English. Here in Ajijic, they speak English everywhere because there's a lot of expats in this
Oh, there
town.
are. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we were well traveled before we started on this journey. That was just to get out and let's travel and see a bunch of countries in Europe because we love Europe. This time we're on a different journey as to where we want to settle. So we've had a lot of travel experience. If we wouldn't have, it would be a little more uncomfortable, I think.
It's just remarkable. Folks, I got to tell you, before we went on, briefly, Charlotte and I were talking, and I said something. She said to me, well, Carter, you know, I am homeless.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah. I remember that conversation now. It's like, yeah, I technically, and I don't want to be homeless for the rest of my life. I don't want to be a digital nomad for my entire life. This is where we are in our life right now. If you want to call it a midlife crisis, I guess you can call it a midlife crisis. But this is our opportunity to experience Mexico for a longer period of time, not be tied to a house back in Canada, and explore, like see what we like. We love the climate here in these mountain countries. It's not too hot, it's not cold. Like I said, we don't need the air conditioning, we don't need heat. Yeah. So when we're going to stop, I don't know, but
Well,
yeah.
you know what? It's for those of us who get to watch Charlotte's Wandering Web, we just love it because we don't never know what you're going to be, but we know it's going to be with the same bright, sunny attitude and some great insights into what's around you. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned expats, so I think around that Lake Chapala, there are a huge number of expats, right?
There are, I believe, it is the highest population of expats in Mexico. So that's why there's a lot of, we actually had culture shock when we got here. We went to a restaurant because remember where we were before was not a tourist area. No
No,
expats. Nobody spoke
no.
English. So when we went and sat in the restaurant for the first time and people around us were speaking English, it felt really strange because we could hear all these conversations going on and it felt like we were eavesdropping on people because we could understand them again. It was the weirdest thing. It's like people are speaking English. What do we do? Do we listen? Do we not? It's yeah.
You know, in Honduras, when I lived there, it was like if I go to La Ceiba and I heard somebody speaking English, it was like it was so strange because it wasn't like where you are.
Mhm.
There was just nobody, and I just felt like turning around and saying, "What are you doing here?" You know, because it
Mhm.
was. But it's not that way at all where you are.
No,
It's there's
no,
a
no,
huge
not at all.
mix.
Not at all. I mean, everywhere we were before, even in Mexico, there's not a lot of English in Mexico City. You would think there would be because it's so big, but maybe that's because it's not really considered a large tourist draw like the coastal cities are.
Right.
You know, we go hablas inglés and no, and no. And here we don't even have to ask the question. They just start speaking English to us. So it's but we want to keep the Spanish phrases we've learned. So we want to talk as much in Spanish as possible.
So are you now? How are you good at picking up languages? I mean, you are the wanderer. So are you
I,
good at picking up languages?
my husband is better at that than I am. I'm really not that great. I find I can read them better than I can speak them or hear them. But my husband can understand when someone's saying, especially numbers, they'll say something to me. And a lot of numbers in Spanish are very familiar to French. And I did take French in school, but there's a little bit of a different accent on it that kind of throws me and I really have to think about it. And my husband will go, they're saying 17. Oh, okay. Now I get it. But it's funny because I find I can read it better. He can understand it better when someone speaks it. So that makes a good mix.
You know, and this again, this is an aside, but I just think it's delightful. And a lot of our offshore club members, I would wager the average age is well over 50. Okay. I mean, there aren't too many as old as me, obviously. And, you know, when you get to be 75, you're kind of like, I remember George Burns once, you remember how old he lived to be. And
Yeah.
he said, somebody asked me, he always had a cigar, George, why don't you date people your own age? And I tell them there are no people my own age. Well, that's the way I feel even about members. But some are going to remember a guy named Sid Caesar. Okay, he was one of the early big TV stars in on television,
Mhm.
and he could do, and it was just stunning. He could talk, like if you said talk Mexican, talk Spanish rather, he could start gibberish that sounded exactly like the language. Exactly. And one of the things they would do, they'd put him like with Mexicans, and he would start talking, and they'd be like, we know he's talking Spanish. I have no idea what he's saying, right? And so with you, you hear it, and it'd be like when they heard Sid Caesar. Yeah, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but I just thought it was funny when you said that you can. Your husband can pick it up though, which is great. And we enjoyed meeting him last week. That was very nice.
Yeah, it was good.
That was very, very good.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to talk to you here at Lake Chapala more, right?
Yes. Yep. For the rest of the month, we'll be here for sure. And like I said, maybe May as well, or maybe we'll go to a next destination. I never know where we're going either. So we're just kind of leaving it open, and where the doors open, they open, and where they shut, they shut. So.
All right. Before we close, let's put in a word. You are the escape artist, the queen of escape artists. Okay. You are the honcho there to me. And which is folks, escapeartist.com is an incredible website. It's a sister organization to Offshore Club. We covered 2 different areas essentially. And you really do incredible job there. And I want people to subscribe to the magazine that you're the editor of. I write for it, and I can never get the name right. What'd you say?
Escape Artist Insiders.
Escape Artist Insider, which, folks, is the best offshore magazine in the world. I'm just going to say it really is. It's outstanding. You do a wonderful job, and I love you have a column by Carib Carter in there, which I think is just
my favorite column. It's my favorite column.
But tell folks how they can get the Insiders magazine, because it is outstanding.
They can go to escapeartist.com, and there's a subscribe tab, and they can subscribe right there. And the April edition, I am so proud of the April edition. The theme was protecting your assets, and it is to me, it's the best one that we have put out so far. It's the best one I've edited. There's one article in there by Joel where he lays out 6 steps. This is what you can do right now to protect you and your family. And it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. And folks, Joel has his show on Offshore Club, and I think it's shared on Escape Artist as well. Every week, the Joel Nagel's Global Wealth Fortress Report. He is America's #1 asset protection attorney. And get the magazine and read his article, because your assets have never needed protection more than you do right now. Yes. Because if you live in America, in the U.S. or Canada, those fruitcakes are going to take every penny you have. I'm sorry. That's a terrible thing to say, but it's just true.
It's true. It's true.
So
true.
The magazine's important. It's very important. Yeah. Go to escapeartist.com and how do they subscribe again? There's
a subscribe tab. So at the very top, there's a menu, and it says subscribe, and there's the free newsletter, and then there's the magazine. So
fantastic.
It's right there.
All right. That's great. This has been wonderful once again. I just love it.
It's a pleasure. So we'll have more stories about Ajijic next week.
Yes, more stories next week. And can you take us a video of that lake for next week?
I can do that. Sure.
Could you? Because I've wanted, ever since Jim started talking about it, I've wanted to see it. So it'd be great. All right, ma'am. Thank you once again. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate it. It's good seeing you again, Charlotte.
Good seeing you too. Thanks, Carter.
We'll see you next week. There you go, folks. Charlotte's Wandering Web. She is just great. She is just great. And she makes you feel like you are there, because she gives you all the insights and tells you what it's like. So join us again next week for Charlotte's Wandering Web. And like I always tell you, let's do this thing.